everybody, I'm Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today we're going to be working on part 4 of our AJ's tree. This is mine. It's all quilted now and I'm very excited about it. I have made all of my bows. These are not attached right now, but I'm going to tell you how I did them in this video, and how I'm going to be attaching them is I'm going to attach the button first to the bow, and then after I've attached the button to the bow, I'm going to do a little blind hem stitch all the way around the quilt so that my stitches don't show. I also have not bound it yet, and I will be binding it in the background fabric. So I hope you like it. I am thrilled to pieces the way this quilt has turned out. I'm going to show you how I put all 4 of the blocks together. Then I'm going to show you also how I made the bows and how I covered the buttons. So I hope you stick around and see how I made it. Thank you so much. It's time to start putting AJ's tree together. So this is our block number 2. This is our block number 3. So I'm just going to take 2 and 3. I'm going to fold them over right sides together, and I'm just going to stitch right down here. Now I'll start probably up, let's see. I will probably start here and sew straight on up. The only thing I need to be careful of on this block is that I get my seam sewn flat, because remember I've pressed that open and I don't want a seam going this way. So I will more than likely pin it and sew it right straight down like this, but I'll make sure that I pin where every single seam is so that I don't miss a seam. So I'm going to do that. Once I've done that, I'm going to add block 1 to block 2 and 3. So I'll be back to show you what block 2, I'll be back to show you what blocks 1, 2, and 3 look like. All right, I've attached block 2 and block 3 to one another. Now it's time to work on block 1. Now there is something that we want to do when we put block 1 together with block 2 and 3. And what that is we want to find the center point, let's slide this up now, of our tree trunk. Because we really, no matter what, want to make sure that the center of the tree trunk is in the center of this block. So I'm going to take out my little ruler, and my block is finished at 4 inches. So I'm going to make a little mark right here at the 2 inches. All right. This is my bone chalk pencil, and I love it. I use it a lot. So I'm just going to make that little mark right there. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to put my right sides together. And I know that I've got 2, 4, 6 blocks here. So right here in the center, that's my center block. I'm going to stick a needle through that, or a pin through that little puppy. There I go. And I'm going to line it up right here, because there's my chalk mark. I'm just going to put it in, line it up nice and straight, make sure that I'm even, and I am, and then I'm going to pin it. Then I'm going to work my way out on both sides, pinning it. Then I will take it over to the sewing machine and sew it together. All right, so now you can see I've got block 1, 2, and 3 all sewn together. I'll show you block. There's block 1, and here is block 2 and block 3. Now, I want you to see something over here. Along the side, I have a little bit of extra fabric right here. And I'm getting ready to attach block 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, we've got about 1 inch extra fabric, and I'm going to take it over to my cutting table and I'm going to trim it. But before I do that, I'm going to first press this. So now I'm going to take this over and I'm going to just get it squared up. I will use my long ruler and use this line as my straight line to help square up. So I'm going to go across here and just trim this right up so that I am square. It's time to attach block 4 to blocks 3 and 1. And the only thing that we need to be careful about when we attach these blocks is we need to make certain that we line up this package, because this package needs to be lined up perfectly. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these 2 pieces right here and you're going to use those to nestle your seams together so that they line up perfectly. So you've got to make sure when you're attaching block 4 to 3 and 1 that you've got that one package lined up really well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get mine put together. Once you've got it all put together, there's one more strip that you need to add. Across the very top of the entire quilt, there is a rectangle that you'll be cutting at 4.5 by 47.5. Now that's going to go across the top of the tree, and it will be across block 1 and block 4. All right, it's time to make our bows. Now here is my bow. All right, the bows are going to go on the package and at the top of the tree. The packages that are the bigger packages, those take the 2.5-inch bows, and these in the smaller packages take the 2-inch bows. So we're working with 2-inch bows, 2.5-inch bows, and then this bow is going to be 3 inches. So we're going to cut this up exactly the same way that we cut up the tree. We need 8 pieces for every bow. So I'm going to take my Dresden blade ruler, and mine were cut at 3 inches. So I'm going to set this down here. I'm going to line it up at the 3 inches all the way to the edge, right up here, so that I've got just as much fabric as I can possibly get. And I'm going to cut it. I'm going to reach around the camera so that you can actually see me do it. I hope I'm not in the way here, but it's not the easiest to cut these and keep the camera where I want it so you can see. I'm really going to turn, I've cut one, see my one right here, just to get started. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut. As I said, this is a 3-inch strip. So there's my 3 inches. I'm going to line this right up on my 3 and hopefully stay out of your way so that you can see what it is that I'm doing. I'm going to line that right up on the 3. Hold it, make sure I keep my hand away and my body's away so I don't get cut. And I'm actually barely putting any pressure on it because I don't want to slip and cut myself. So here I go again. I'm going to flip it over to the other side of the camera so that I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just lining it right up. We're going to need a total of 8 of these. And this is exactly how we cut the tree. So I've got 3. I'm going to keep right on going. The first thing I'm going to do is take these little blades. Now we've got 8 of them. I'm going to fold them in half, just like this, and I'm going to stitch them. Now when I stitch them, I'm going to start stitching here and stitch right on down, and I'm going to do all 8 of them at once. I'll have them in one long chain. When I get done with those, I'll show you where we're at, okay? Here are my little points. I've cut 2 of them apart because I want to show you what I'm going to do next. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of them and I'm just going to clip off that corner, only because I want to reduce the bulk. Then I'm going to take my wonderful, let me turn the, whoops, wrong one. I'm going to take my stiletto. So I'll put away my seam ripper and I'm going to pull out my stiletto. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put my thumb, see this little See that little pocket I've created? I'm gonna stick my thumb in that pocket and I'm gonna lay my stiletto right against my thumb, just like this. And I'm just gonna flip it around. And then you can see what happens. I get this nice little point. Isn't that the coolest? So I may have to fuss with it a little bit every once in a while, and I'm very careful because my stiletto will absolutely go through my seams, all right? And I don't want that to happen. Once I've done that, I'm gonna take these all over to my ironing table and I'm gonna press these down. And when I press them, I'm lining up that seam with the center of this point right here, all right? So that I've got these nice pointy blades. Isn't that gonna be cool? I'll be back when I get all of these pressed, and then we're gonna start sewing them together in groups of 2. Be back then. All right, so now you can see I have all of my little pieces pressed. I think this is gonna be really pretty when it's done. And I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them right sides together, just like this. I may or I may not pin them, that's up to you. And then I'm gonna start sewing here. I'm gonna sew straight down. I'm gonna do a 1/4 inch seam. And then when I get done doing that, I'm going to press it open, the seam open here. So I'll probably use my little strip stick. And I'm gonna do that so that I have 4 groups of 2, then I'll sew 2 together, then I'll sew all of them together. All right, I wanna show you how I'm going about making the final pieces for the ribbons or the bows. Here I've got one of Dritz's coverable buttons, okay? So what I'm doing though is I am purposely lining it up someplace specifically on the fabric. So there's a lot of waste to it, but I want it in a particular spot. So I want the green and the purple to show up. So I'm taking that and inserting it in this little cup that came with it. So I'm just gonna push it in there. All right, once I get it pushed in there good, then I'm gonna trim my excess fabric. And how I do it is I lay it over the cup and I just use the edge of that little holder to trim it off, okay? It's, you know, it's not real neat, but it works. Gives me enough fabric to fold in there and still be okay. So then I take it and I just kind of push it inside that little cup. Push it right down in there and it pretty much folds right around it. Then I take this piece, which is the back of the button, and I put it inside of it. And you can see it doesn't have a whole lot of places to go. Then you take this other little piece that comes with it, and what that does is that pushes it down in. And you just take it, and I hope you could hear that snap, because that's all there was to it. And it's all snapped down in. Now I'm going to turn it over and just push in the center, and there's, whoops, there's my button. Thank you so much for joining me today for AJ's tree. I really appreciate you sticking around and watching how I put this all together. You can pop out to my website to get all of the patterns for this. They're all available, and check out the other tutorials here on YouTube. And don't forget to come on out to the Facebook group. Make sure you post pictures of AJ's tree. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye.